everybody, it's me Dee again from Dzcrochetcreations, and today I'm going to show you how to complete a beanie, making it into a Hello Kitty hat. Of course, I already have my completed beanie that I'm going to be working on. I have that right here, so I have my completed beanie. And then I'm going to need some more white yarn, yellow yarn, red yarn, and of course a little bit of black yarn. Then you're going to be needing a needle, some scissors, a crochet hook, and I use an eye for this project. And for her eyes, I will be using 2 buttons. So the first thing that we're going to work on will be her nose. It's very simple. The things need to be completed in pieces. And bear with me because I'm going to be working from memory. I haven't written anything down. I want to make your slip knot. And her nose isn't very big, so we're just going to work 3 chains and then slip stitch into the first chain to form a ring. And then from here you will do 6 single crochets in the center. So to find it, sometimes a little difficult, but you'll just push this right into the center and make your first single crochet. And then of course you want to do 5 more single crochets right in the center. So there's number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And if you noticed, I am working around my tail. Just going to be working that in. One more thing I forgot to mention is that you do need a stitch marker, if it makes it easier for you. I like to use bobby pins for my stitch marker. It makes it so much more easier. So at the end of the 6th single crochet, you want to go ahead and go into a half double crochet. And you're going to do 2 half double crochets in each stitch around, and it will begin in this stitch here. So I'm going to do 2 half double crochets in the very first stitch, and of course hold your tails so you can tuck it in as you go. Oh, I'm sorry, this first one is always more difficult for me. So there's my first half double crochet. Then I'm going to place my stitch marker right into this first half double crochet I just made, and I just slide it in, hold it there, and I want to do one more half double crochet in the same stitch. That's number 2. And then you have a little bit of a tail, and if you want to try to close that in some, just pull on your tail and it'll enclose it. And then go on to the next stitch and do 2 half double crochets in that stitch. So there's 1 and 2. Again, repeat 2 half double crochets in each stitch around to the stitch marker, holding in your tail. 1, 2. One, 2. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, in my last stitch, 2 half double crochets. There's 1 and 2. And that's it for her nose. You just want to even out the row, you just want to go into the first stitch, pull out your marker, and slip stitch it. So your last stitch, you just want to do a slip stitch. And then when you cut off your yarn, you want to make sure that you have enough, because this is what you're going to use to sew the nose onto the beanie. So just cut it to where you have enough, and then just pull it through, and there you go for her little nose. Okay, next we want to make some ears, and we're going to be using white yarn for the ears. Of course you want to make 2 ears. Just pulling some yarn out of my skein. Again, for this you want to do your slip knot, hold it together, twist, pull the larger piece through. And for the first ear you want to chain 2, so we're going to chain 1 and 2. And then you want to work 5 single crochets in the second chain from the hook. So we're going to work 1. Sorry, let me do that again. So we have our slip knot. We're going to chain our 2 and 5 single crochets in the second chain from the hook, which means you skip this first chain, this is the chain on the hook, and you do 5 single crochets in the second chain. So here we go with 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then now you want to do 2 single crochets in each stitch around. So that means we will want to start in this first stitch here, and we will want to do 2 single crochets. Again, you'll want to use your place marker if you don't want to have to keep count. Here's your first single crochet. I am going to stick my place marker. I'm going to do 1 more single crochet in the same stitch. That's 2. And then, of course, 2 single crochets in the rest of the stitches around. So that's 1, 2. And again, you can always pull this tail if you want to close that little hole in. And again, I am holding down my tail and working around it to tuck it in. That was 1, this is 2. One, 2, 1, 2. So we have a total of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now for round 3, you want to do a single crochet in the first stitch, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. And we want to repeat that for a total of 15. So we want to take our marker out, and we want to do 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Of course, I will put my place marker back. Just pop it right back in. and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. There's 1, 2, oops, 2. 1 single crochet in the next stitch, 1, and 2 single crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2, and just repeat that all the way around till you get back to your place marker. 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, and 2 in the last stitch. 1, 2. Back to the beginning. Now we're on round 4. Round 4, you're going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. So take out your marker, 1 single crochet in the next stitch. I'm going to place mine back in. See, there's a glare. I am so sorry about that. See if we can fix that glare. Okay, so 1 single crochet in the next stitch and 2 single crochets in the next stitch. 1 single crochet in the next 2 stitches. There's 1, there's 2, and then 2 single crochets in the next stitch. 1, 2. So 1, 1, 1, 2. And again, just repeat that to the beginning where the place marker is at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you notice, like this popped up in the way, I just grabbed it and pushed it down, and I'll hold it across the back like this just to keep it out of the way. Bobby pins just make it so much easier to pop in and pop out for your place marker. Okay, that was the end of round 4. Now we're going to be doing round 5 through 7. And round 5 through 7, all you're going to be doing is just single crocheting in each stitch around. So I am going to start with my single crochets each stitch around. I'm going to do rounds 5 through 7, and then I will meet you at the end of round 7. Here I am at the end of round 7, just a few more stitches to go. I'm just going to finish off with my single crochets. And then at the end of this round, we're finished, so you just want to slip stitch into the first stitch to even off the row. And then again, leave a long enough tail for stitching and sewing. Of course, cut it off. And pull through your stitch. Pull it tight. Go ahead and take out your place marker. And then this part we're going to fold it in half. You don't want to stuff it on the inside, you just want to fold it in half. And then you just want to sew across this bottom edge to sew it together. and this will be one ear. This will be one of the ears. And if it seems too small, instead of stopping at round 3 for the increase, you can increase a couple more rows if you need to make it a little bigger. But at this time, we're just going to go ahead and get our needle so we can stitch it. So I can just go ahead and show you how to do that. So stick your needle, your thread on your needle, and then you just want to get your little ear, fold it together, get the 2 edges here, and I'm going to go ahead and start. It's hard to see this way. I'm going to go ahead and start in here. Getting such a glare. Let's see. Move it right here. Sorry about that. So I'm going to start on this side and just kind of go through the inside. So you have the 2 stitches here. I'm going to go ahead and go through the top of this one, the inside of this one. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and go through both of the stitches. So I'm going to go through these 2 here, and then I'm going to go through those 2 there and pull it through. And instead of doing like a whip stitch where you would go over, under, over, I'm just going to go back now through the top of these 2 and then back through this side through these 2 there. And I'm going to pull it, and then again I'm going to go through these 2 next to it, and back over and through that side. Then I'm just going to keep doing that all the way across. So again on this side, back down through this side. Again, start here, back to the other side. And I'll just keep doing that all the way till I get to the other end. And here I am at the end. I'll just put, it's kind of hard to see at this end here, but I'll just kind of, just to close it up, just pick a few stitches to go through, pull it through, and there we go. So here is your little ear. You could form it, maybe push it in a little so it kind of dips in, just kind of by forming it like that. And of course you want to make one more of these ears. Go ahead and make the other side, the other ear, and I will meet you at the end of my second ear. Okay, so I've completed both of my ears. I have 2 ears done. I left a long enough tail so that way I can stitch them to the beanie. And of course, they're, shaped. You can form them, shape them, and then they'll go on each side of the beanie. Next we want to work on the bow for Hello Kitty's bow. And go ahead and get your red yarn. And with your red yarn you want to chain 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Then you want to half double crochet in the, well, let's go third chain from the hook. So we'll skip the first one, skip the second one, and half double crochet in the third chain from the hook. And then you just want to half double crochet in each chain across. Just one half double crochet. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So you have 14 stitches across. Now at the end of the row you want to chain 2, turn, and then now what you're going to do is work one half double crochet in the back loop only of each stitch across. So instead of going through the stitches here, you're going to go down the middle of the stitch and out the back. So we're going to start with 1 in the back loop only, 2, and again I'm wrapping my yarn, I'm going down through the center of the stitch and out the back for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. 14 just kind of go in this end stitch here. And there you go. Now you want to chain 2 again. 1, 2, turn your work, and one more time do one half double crochet in the back stitch only of each stitch across. So start in the back loop, do your half double crochet and continue that across, and I'll meet you at the end. Here I am at the last couple stitches. I'm going to go through the back loop on the next stitch. And then I need to fix that because see how my thread shred? I have a hard time leaving that. So I have to go back and fix that. You don't have to if you don't want to, if it shreds on you, but I just have to because it looks so much more neater. And then one more stitch in this end stitch here, kind of still continuing to go through this back loop right through there and doing one more. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and do one more row. So I'm going to chain 2, turn my work, and again repeat one half double crochet in the back loop only of each stitch across. And again I will meet you at the end. I am at the last 2 stitches. I'm going to half double crochet in the back loop of the next stitch, and then half double crochet in this back loop here of the very end stitch. And there you go, you have a piece that looks like this. So now you're finished here. You can go ahead and You don't have to you don't have to make the tail very long, just cut off a piece and pull it through to finish off so it looks like this, complete. Now in order to make it look like your bow, you just want to get it in the center and just kind of like squish it down like this. So the two, you could even go in the back and pinch it here and then fold this down, fold this up, and there you've got your bow. If I hold it from the back. So here you have your bow. So it'll look like that, and after you're done tying it off, you can, you know, make it look pretty. So once you have it pinched down in the center of where you want it to be, go ahead and just grab your red thread. You can get a long piece as long as you need it to be. And just kind of wrap it as many times as you want to secure it in the center. So I'll pull, like this will be my tail, and I'll pull it, and then I'll hold it here. So I have a pretty long tail. I'll hold it there. And then I'll get the side that's still connected to the skein, and I'll just keep wrapping it around a few times. Don't matter how many times, just whatever you want. I'll go about 7 or 8 times. And then kind of hold it, make sure it's right in the middle. So that's what it looks like. Don't mind your 2 end tails here, you'll tuck those in. So this is what my bow's going to look like. So after I've wrapped it, then I just want to go ahead and clip off my end. And I'm kind of leaving a long tail on both sides just so that way I can secure it a little more to the hat as well. So here you have the back of your bow, and right in the back of your bow is where you want to tie it. And the way that I tie mine is, of course, I do like a regular tie, and then I'm going to go ahead and do a surgical stitch. I'm just going to wrap it through one more time, and then I'm going to pull it tight. And then I'm going to do that, repeat that one more time just to make sure that it's secure. So I'm going to pull it through and then just redo it one more time. And then pull it tight. And here I have my bow. Now you can straighten it out, you can do what you need to do to get it to look pretty. That's the way mine will come out. And then you can go ahead and get your needle and tuck in your tails now if you want. I'm going to go ahead and do that to mine, get my needle. And then I'm just going to turn it around and just kind of weave it through a few stitches in the back. Going through, pulling it, leaving a little on there still, and then going through and weaving it till it comes through the wrapped center. Then I'm just going to pull mine through, and here's the end of it. Make sure that, if you pull it really tight, it's going to bunch up your bow and it can look like that. If you do that, you just want to pull it and straighten it out. And then turn it around. This little piece there, you could just clip that off, which I'm going to do. And then you can't see it. So I'm going to repeat that on this other side with this shorter tail on the other side of my bow. Thread my needle. Again, flip my bow around. Weave this through a few stitches. And you can keep going till you hit the center as well. You don't need to stop. I'm just going to keep going until I hit the center of my threads here. Pull it through again. It's kind of pulled it in. I'm just going to pull it back out. fix my bow, turn around, look for the short tail, and just clip this tail off. And there we go. So there you have your bow made, and it still has these strings attached to the very back. And there's your little bow made. Okay, so now what you want to do is get your ear flap hat, your beanie. I have not edged mine yet, so that way I can show you after you're done as to how you want to edge it correctly along the sides and the edging. I always start in the very back, so here's the front and here is what would be the back. I know because my tail's here. So I want to grab my back of it, and then instead of starting on this side, I always start to the right of my tail so that way I can tuck in my tail as I go. And it doesn't matter what stitch, I just don't want to start in the stitch where the flap begins. So I'm going to kind of start a few stitches over to the right. Going to be working with my red for the edging. And in order for me to stitch it on, I stick my hook through. I don't loop anything, I just grab my yarn, put it on my fingers like normal, then I just pull it through, and then I just want to do one chain, and then I'm going to single crochet into the same stitch. So one single crochet. Basically, I'm going to do one single crochet in each stitch across to the first ear flap. So one, then I want to single crochet in the next stitch. And then this is where you get to your tail, so you just kind of hold them together with your red and your white. Go into the next stitch and do your single crochet. Same thing, single crochet. And then just single crochet all the way across to the first ear flap, the beginning of the first ear flap. I'm continuing to hold down my tails. I'm almost to that first ear flap. Okay, I have 2 more stitches to go before I reach my first ear flap. So I'm going to go into this stitch here, and then into this stitch here. Now, you can go ahead and cut off the rest of your tail here, which I am going to do. Now here's the beginning of your first ear flap. So in this stitch here, you want to go ahead and work 2 single crochets. So there's 1, 2. And then there's really no wrong way to do this. Now you're going to flip your hat and work up down the side of your ear flap. And you just kind of want to evenly space your single crochets across. So I'm going to go around the first stitch here and into this space here. Again around the next stitch here and into this next space here. Around and in the space. Around and in the space. Again, I want to go around the stitch here and in the space here. And then just repeat that all the way across to the end here where you have your tail. And if you don't have your tail, then you want to just till the end corner stitch up here. Just repeat that across. Just 1 single crochet, evenly spaced. And like I said, there's no wrong way to do it. You can even space it out further if you want. Totally up to you. So I'm at the last stitch before I get to my corner here. I'm going to do 1 single crochet there. And then in my corner stitch, I always do 3 single crochets. So we want to go ahead and do 1, 2, 3. And then now you have 2 or however many you end up with on your end stitch. On your ear flap, you just want to go ahead and do a single crochet across. And then of course you always want to do 3 single crochets in the end stitch, which is going to be right here for me. And again, I grabbed this tail and I am working over the tail. It's a lot quicker to do it this way than to have to go back and re-stitch it in. 2, 3. And now of course you're working down the opposite side of your ear flap. So you just want to go ahead and evenly space it again, working down, back towards the beanie. And I will just evenly space it, working where I think I need to just fill in the space. Continuing to hold down my tail. Basically, you're going to just repeat this process on the other side for your other ear flap. So across the beanie part of the edging of the beanie, it's just going to be 1 single crochet across till you reach your ear flap. And then, like I said, you want to do 2 single crochets in that beginning part of the ear flap. 1 single crochet evenly spaced across, and make sure you always put 3 single crochets in your corner stitches. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut off my tail. I crocheted over it long enough, I believe. So here I am at the end of this ear flap. I've got 2 more spaces I can fill in. So there's 1, and here's 2. And again, we're back where the beanie meets the ear flap. And in this space where the stitch is, you always want to go ahead and do 2 single crochets there. 1, 2. So I'm going to repeat that again across the edge of the beanie. I'm going to repeat the second ear flap, putting 2 single crochets here, evenly space 1 single crochet across, 3 single crochets in my corners, all the way until I get to the end here. So I'm going to continue on with that, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, here I am at the end of my second ear flap. I've done my 2 single crochets in the same stitch as the beginning of the ear flap. I only have 2 more stitches left to end out my bordering row. And I just did my 2, and then we're going to slip stitch to join. And then go ahead and finish off, and you don't need to leave a long tail for this because you're not stitching anything on. You're just going to tuck it in and then pull it through and tighten it. So this is what the beginning of your Hello Kitty hat beanie ear flap hat should look like with the edging on. That's what it looks like. So now we're going to be working on this part of the hat to be stitching everything on. And I always go out, I just flatten out my hat, and then I grab all my pieces. I'm going to be doing this one-handed, so I'll grab my pieces and kind of lay out where I think that they should go. So an ear there, an ear here. Of course, I'll just lay them in behind because I know my ears are going to go there. And then her little nose will be going about right here. And then, of course, The bow's gonna go up here. And then you want to get your eyes. And her eyes are not in the center. They're kind of off. They're out wide. So you want to put them out kind of wide. And this is kind of where everything is going to go placed on your hat. So you'll have your bow there. Of course your ear here. And that's kind of how it'll go. And then we're just going to stitch everything on. And then we'll do the whiskers last. So go ahead and set this down again. Sorry for moving and shaking. Not very good doing one-handed and holding the camera. So I guess I'll start with the nose. That's the easiest for me, so I can kind of center everything how I want it. So here, of course, is the hat, and we're going to place the nose like right in the center where we believe it needs to go. And this is kind of the tricky part. It's not going to be perfect when you first start sewing. Things are going to be crooked. Just try to do your best. It doesn't matter. It's handmade, so it always looks great anyway. So go ahead and stitch your needle. Doesn't have to be perfect, basically. It's still going to look great. Put your yarn on your needle. And then I already have it on my hat, so I just want to open it up and just hold it together. Now I'm going to flip my hat, and I'm just going to work around in a circle going from top to bottom, bottom to top. And I'm not even going to stitch anything on yet. I'm just going to stick my needle to get this yarn to look even. I'm just going to stick it in the white and pull it down through. And it just kind of pulls it to make it look even. So you can't really tell that this was the end. Now you just want to go up through your work. And I always I'll go in my hat. Of course, I'll just stick it in and come back up. And instead of going through the back part of my stitch here, I just always go through both. So I grab these stitches here. And I pull it through. And then I don't weave. I know a lot of people will weave. They'll go back down through this side. I don't do that. I go to my next stitch and I push it down through these two. So it's going to go through both, just like if I was stitching the ear together. I'm going to go down through both and kind of angle it so it goes down on the other side through my work. And then I'll pull my needle through. And then again, I just want to repeat that process. I'm going to push it back up through here. I want to catch both of my pieces of, I don't want to go through here. I want to go through both, so they're both on top, and pull it through. And then again, go to the next one and go through both, and then angle it to go down to the white beanie, and then pull it through. And then just repeat that process, holding it, going all the way around, going up through, catching the two only that I want, and again going back down, and then just repeating that all the way around until you get back to the beginning where you started. And go ahead and stitch it on all the way, and I will meet you at the end right here. Here I am at my last few sewing on stitches, and I'm going to bring my needle up through there. Again, push it back down through this last one, pull it through the bottom, and I'm going to go a couple of more. So again, up through here, down through there, and then one more. Go up through here. Now instead of knotting it, I don't knot it. What I do is I just run my yarn through a few of these stitches here and around just to blend it in. So I'm going to go in through here, push it through a few stitches, bring it through here, pull it tight, and then just kind of turn it so that way I can go through a few more stitches. Make it even closer to the center and just work my way around a few. It's kind of tight. That's what you want to hold it in so it doesn't ever unwind. And then that way the bottom of it looks real clean. So you can't really tell other than you did stitch on a little bit, but there's no knots here, so you just weave it through up here. And I just kind of work with it wherever I can find space to weave it in, just as long as I try to make it go through like a round once, I'm good. So I'll pull it through here, and then this is where I'll clip it off, and I'll clip it off as close as I can to the bottom of it without cutting my work. And right here is fine even if you leave a little bit, because you just kind of do that and it disappears. It's not there, and you don't have a lot of knotting down underneath on the inside either. Okay, so there's her little nose. And then again, now we want to do the eyes. I use buttons for her eyes. So her eyes are not directly above her nose. That wouldn't be Hello Kitty. That would not be. So we want to go ahead and space them over. Try to space them evenly, leaving enough room to be able to do her whiskers on the side here. 3 of them. And that looks about good for me, so that's where I'll be stitching them on. You just got to kind of play with it, because of course I'm going to lose one. So now I'm going to get my needle. If I could find my needle. Okay, give me 1 second on my needle. So now what we're going to do is go ahead and use black yarn since the eye is black. I mean, you could use white yarn if you wanted to. I'm going to go ahead and use black. You can do it whatever way you want. You don't need a long piece. You just, I mean, enough to, you know, stitch her eye on. So I'm going to go ahead and cut me 2 pieces this length. So there's one, and then I'll just make them even and cut me a second piece the same length for the second eye. And then of course you want to go ahead and thread your needle. Hold the eye to your hat. Now come up through the bottom and through the button. And then you just want to pull it until your thread underneath here isn't so long anymore. And I'll go ahead and leave about that much length underneath. And then go ahead and just I do the crisscross, so I'll cross it here, going back down through my button. Oh, I'm so sorry, I'm not even getting it on camera. So I'm going to go back down through my button. I know the black yarn is really hard to see, but you can see it there with the 2 holes next to it. And then I want to come back up and go through this side of the button, pull it tight, and then go back down through this side of the button. And there you go, you've already stitched on her eye. Now all you have to do is tie it underneath. So flip it over. And of course for this one you are going to have a knot, but it's not going to be that big of a deal. So I always do, like if I'm tying a shoe, and then I wrap it through one more time, pull it tight, and I do that process one more time just to make sure it's secure. Wrap it again, pull tight, and because this is a surgical knot, it's not going to come undone. You can go ahead and cut it down as short as you need to. I always leave a little bit because you never know. And that's not going to be a big deal. It's not going to bother the head of anybody wearing it. So again, you just want to repeat that for the second eye. Again, spacing your eye across like that. I will meet you at the end of stitching on the second eye. Here I have completed stitching on her second eye. So that's what she looks like so far. Now we want to focus on the ears. So let's see if I can get the camera to focus on the ear part. And of course Hello Kitty's ears are not on the top of her head. They're kind of off to the side. So about right here. Not up here, about right here. I'm going to go ahead and stitch on this side first. And go ahead and thread my needle. I'm going to trim my yarn. It's like kind of separating there. So thread my needle. And then I want to focus on stitching it right here on the hat, on the head. So in order to do that again, I'm not going to stitch through this first. I'm just going to stick it right down through the hat. And I will pull it through the other side. And then that will give me an idea of where I want my ear to be stitched on. So now I got to pick up my hat, hold my ear to the side, and then I just want to stitch her ear on. I'm going to come up through the bottom of the hat, and I hope you can see this good, but I'm going to come up through here, pull it tight, and then again I'm going to come to the next stitch on the ear and go back down through to the hat. And then I want to go back up through the ear, pull, go to the next stitch, and go back down. And then just repeat that across, and I'll meet you at the end of stitching on the ear. Here I am at the end of stitching on my first ear. I still have a little bit left to stitch. I want to go ahead and go through the next stitch here and go straight down through the hat. Of course, pull it through on this side. And probably this little space here on the edge of the corner. Go ahead and stitch that down. So we'll come back up, go up through the ear here, and pull it tight. And then just to be secure, just go down the back of it one more time. Go back down through, pull it to tighten it. Now to tuck in some of this tail that's left, I'm going to go ahead and come back up through the back of the ear, right about here. And then I want to go ahead and do the same process of weaving in my tail. So I'll come up through the ear here, pull through, that way we don't have to knot it again. And then I'll just run through here across the ear, through stitches here across the ear, and pull it through. And then repeat that again. Run it through some more stitches. And pull it through, and then I'll just clip off my tail right there. you won't be able to see the end of that. So this is what Hello Kitty is beginning to look like with her first ear on. I am going to go ahead and stitch on her second ear the same way. Just I'm going to evenly do it on this side. And the way that I kind of tell is like, here's the center, and I'll just count over 1, 2, 3, and I did it about the 4th over. So I'll do the same thing here. I'll go 1, 2, 3, and I started it about here. So this is about where I'll stitch it on, and I will do the same process as this ear. I'm going to do the same thing here, but I'm going to be working back up the hat this way. After I'm done stitching on the ear, I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so now this is what Hello Kitty's starting to look like. So now at the eyes is where we want to put on the 3 whiskers on each side. And all I do is I just use 1 thread of black. I kind of go back here by the ear and try to make it even to the eye here. And then I'll kind of angle one down, and then the other one kind of at an angle down. For this you do need your needle. And it's different for me every time. I just kind of mess with it. So of course we're going to be using black, and I'm going to use it up against the white so you can see. I'm going to thread my needle. And just make it long enough to where you think it'll make 3 whiskers. I'm going to go ahead and cut mine here. So I've left quite a bit of a tail. And there's my needle. So for this one I'm going to start underneath the hat, and I'm going to start near her eye, which will be about right here. I'm going to pull it through, but on the inside I want to go ahead and leave a little bit right here. So holding on to that from the inside, you want to get your needle and put it through kind of 1 stitch behind the ear. So here's the ear, and I'm going to go about right here, and then I am going to pull it through. So there's 1 line there by her eye. So underneath it looks like this. You have your tail here and this one through here. So to make the next line, of course I want to come back up this way, and I'm going to stick my needle in, not even here. I'm going to come in a little bit about right here, so it's not even. I'm going to go in 1 more, so I'm going to go about right here, and then I want to pull this so that it's, I mean, it's not scrunching it up, but you know, you got a little bit of tug on it. And then of course you want to come back here, and instead of working the same row here, go down 1 row. So you want to bring it, you want to come down right, see, a half a row right in the middle here. So not in this row, not here, but right in the center of, right in the middle of the row there. Of course, pull it through, and there's your 2nd stripe. And then for your 3rd stripe, you want to go ahead and do it even with this one. You just want to bring it down to about right here, and it's even with the top, so you pull it through here. Again, you don't want to pull it too tight because it'll scrunch up the hat. And what I did again is I brought it through and I started again on this side. And then what you want to do is just bring it across, and this time, even again, go right here. So there you have Hello Kitty's 3 stripes near her eye. Now in order to tie it off on the inside, you have your two pieces here. Go ahead and tie a knot, but don't tie it super tight, because if you do, then it's going to scrunch up your whole beanie. So you just want to tie a loose one, and then you want to do it one more time where you wrap it. So you wrap it and wrap it one more time and pull it tight. That way it's not too tight on the beanie, but you have a secure knot. It's not going to come undone. And then you can trim off your edges, your ends here. There you go. It looks a little crazy on the inside, but on the outside, you have your Hello Kitty stripes by her eye. Go ahead and repeat that process on the next eye. Again, you just want to get your yarn, thread your needle, and make it long enough to be able to stitch it back and forth within the hat. Again, on this side, I'm going to start near the eye. I'm going to kind of look on this side. So I started here, and I want to follow this row. So I start near the eye, and I'm going to pop it through here. That seems like it would be about even, and I just want to double check. I have a space here, and I have a space here, and I just want to double check that it's even. Again, I lost it, so I'll pop it through right here. And again, you just want to pull it till you have just a little bit left inside, about that long. Bring it back about, here's the ear, so you want to put it in about right here. Okay, let's try that again. Let's go down a half a row because it's going to touch the ear if I leave it there. So I'm going to go down right here about half a row and pull it through. There we go. And then of course bring it back. Not the same row, but you want to go down a half a row here. And again, you don't want it even right there, so come in a bit, pull it through, come back to here, put it through. Now again, it may not be exactly the same as the other side, but it's going to be pretty close. Again, I'm going to push it through there because it looks to me like, well, yeah, that looks about even. So, even there. And then, again, I want to go down half a row here and pop it through there. And there you got her other stripe to her eye. So this is what Hello Kitty looks like now. And again, you just want to tie off the inside, just like the other side. So just tie that off and I'll meet you at the end of the tie. Now this is what your Hello Kitty beanie looks like. And now what we need to do is just put on the bow. Let me grab this bow. It's all tangled in my yarn. Okay, so here's her bow. And of course we just want to put it up here on this ear. So it'll look like that. And then the last thing we'll need to do is just stitch in our tail down here, and then our Hello Kitty hat will be complete with the Hello Kitty face. So our bow, you have these two tails on this side. So what I like to do is I leave them because I'll put the bow where I think I want it to go, and then I'll get my yarn needle or my yarn hook. I'll put it on the inside And then about where I want the center of the bow to go on her ear, I put my hook through and I just grab these two threads and I pull them through. However you can manage to do that, just pull them through. So I now drop my hook because I grabbed them, and I will pull them through the top of the hat. And then this is where I want the bow to be. So on the inside, of course, it's going to look like this. So this is where I will get my needle, and I will thread my needle. And this side of the yarn, I'm going to go ahead and use that to stitch on this side of the bow over here. So I'm going to come back up through the hat here. I'll grab some of this. I'm not going to grab the whole bow. I'm just going to grab some of the bow and bring it back up, tighten it. And I want it to kind of sit up, so I don't want to lay it flat this way. I just want it to kind of sit up in front of the ear. So I'm just going to go back down in the same spot, not the same exact spot, but a little bit further up. Just go back down through the hat. I'm so sorry, I know it's hard to see. And then I want to, so this is loose, I want to just go ahead and stitch it down one more time over here. So I'm going to come back up through the hat. I'm going to grab the edge of the bow there, pull it, and then go next to it here and go back down and pull it. So now we have the bow stuck on there. Again, now I want to go back to the center, right here, go up through the center of the bow. Okay. And of course you don't want to pull too tight or it's going to make it real bunched up. Okay. And since we've already wrapped the bow here, I'll just want to kind of go back around here, stick my needle through the center, through the back, come back up the front, pull it secure tight, and just cut my yarn there. And again, there won't have to be any knots on the bottom on the inside of the hat. Take your needle, rethread this one here, push it through your needle, and again situate it where you want it to be. Come up through the center, back down through the center, now working off to this side. I'm going to find a spot over here to bring it up. Bring it up through your bow and back down in the stitch next to it. Back over to the center. Come up about right here with it. Again, don't want to pull it too tight. And then again, you just want to wrap it around. Hold it here. Go back through the center, through the back, push it through the front, pull tight. Could go ahead and do that one more time. Wrap it around, go through the back, push it through the center, pull it tight, and go ahead and clip it off here. So again, on the inside, you don't have any knots. The only knots you're going to see are in the black and on the eyes. But as far as the nose and the bow, there shouldn't be any knots on the inside. And there you have it. There's your Hello Kitty hat. You just want to fix her bow. There you go. There's your Hello Kitty hat. Don't forget, you just want to tuck in this piece here. And the hat will be finished. I'll go ahead and do that real quick. I don't want to forget. So I just want to get I'm going to go down through this one next to it. Bring it through the stitch back here. That way it evens it off. And then I just want to run it across stitches on the edging. Run it through across a few and then go back. So I'm going to skip this one here and go back and run it through a few more on the hat. Pull it through, pull it off, clip it, and we are done with the Hello Kitty hat. You just want to straighten out the bow, and there's your finished Hello Kitty hat. Just make the last few adjustments, and there you go. It's not too hard, little time consuming, but it looks really cute, and girls love it. So there's your Hello Kitty hat. Here's one more look at your Hello Kitty beanie on well, mine's on a mannequin head, but this is what the finished touches of your Hello Kitty beanie looks like. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you don't know how to make a basic beanie, let me know. I can try to get one going. I know there's other tutorials on that. But if you would like for me to do a tutorial on it, let me know. And I'll see about adding that into my list of things to make. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed this. Would love to see pictures. Send them to my email address, or if you have Facebook, post them on my Facebook page. Would love to see them. Thank you so much.